Well, good morning, everybody. Hopefully, you are all staying warm and preparing for what I believe is now being called Snowmageddon. So, yeah, it's nice that we get to do this virtually, so we don't have to venture out into a classroom today. So, I am so excited to take you on a tour of the brand new Collab Center. So, if you have not used the Collab Center before, you're in for a treat because they have made some great improvements. So, you'll be getting to test it out firsthand. This is already live, so you can start using this. But basically, I'm going to show you the new enhancements in the Collab Center, and then I'm going to walk you through creating collab accounts for your clients from step A to step Z. But I am lucky enough to be joined by not only my very best friend in the whole wide world, but a person who taught me a lot about Paragon and a lot about the classes that we teach, Lisa Harris. Lisa, you want to say hi to everybody?
Good morning, everyone. Good morning, Colleen. How are you?
Hi, I'm good. I'm good. Getting ready for the massive snow they say is coming. So, as ready as you can be, right? I'm ready for spring, quite honestly.
Me and you both.
So, Lisa, tell us a little bit about yourself because we've got a lot of new people attending in from some different places today. Tell us a little bit about your background.
So I've been in real estate for 35 years now. So just for a little while. And I've been with, I think, my real source now going on 13 years, training and doing the classes, which I absolutely love. I love the training. I miss being in a classroom. But I do real estate full time. So I use all these products on a daily basis.
So I am lucky enough to have Lisa helping out behind the scenes because we had over 100 and I think it was 120 people register for today's class. So we want you to be able to ask questions, and that's why Lisa was kind enough to join us. So anytime you have a question throughout the class today, you will find in your go-to webinar panel, which might be minimized over at the bottom right-hand side of your screen, might look like an orange arrow. Time you have a question today, feel free to just expand that, and there is a questions box. Type your question in, and if it's a lengthy question, Lisa may just jump in and stop me. We can cover it, or she might, if it's an easy question, she might just answer it behind the scenes. But we want you to be able to ask these questions. So no matter where you're coming in from, I know we have people who are coming in from our data shares. We have people that are coming in from the vendor MLSs as well as my real source members. So we got a little bit of everybody on the call today. So if you do have any questions, just fire them off in that questions box, and Lisa will go ahead and either stop us and jump in, or she will go ahead and address them. I've also placed some handouts. I'm a big checklist person as an agent myself for the last 25 years. A lot of times I will take a class like this and may not use the Collab Center for a couple of weeks. So I kind of like those helpful checklist reminders. So I've attached those in your GoToWebinar handouts section. So you can either download them, but I'm also going to show you where you can find those after today. So if you want to go back and you want to refer to those checklists, I'll show you where you can access those. In addition to that, we record most of our classes here at My Real Source. And so this class will be recorded, and I'm going to show you where you can find that class recording. Because as I mentioned, sometimes you want to go back to those recordings. You want to see them later on. Maybe you pick up a particular tip or trick and you just kind of want to go back, or if you have to step away for a moment, hopefully to bottom line an offer, you can go back to this class recording and actually just fast forward to that exact spot. Okay, enough talking. Let's get to the good stuff. So I like to kind of teach this class a little bit backwards, if you will. I kind of like to show you the Collab Center so that you can see it. You can kind of see what it looks like. And then I'm going to take you through setting up the Collab Center from beginning to end. I kind of like you to see the finished product because I always find that helpful as an agent. And then I'm going to walk you through setting it up for your clients. And again, I will take you through step A right through step Z. First and foremost, some of the enhancements that have been made to the Paragon Collab Center is now it's even easier to communicate with your clients. Your clients can use this as a mobile now, they can also download this directly from the App Store or from the Google Play Store. And if they've already done that, you can even deliver an activation code, which will connect you with them. So with that, I'm going to go ahead. And Lisa, can you see my screen okay? The Paragon screen and contacts?
Yes, no, looks great.
Okay, perfect. Just like to make sure there's nothing worse than, you start teaching a class and nobody can see or hear you. That's always the worst, right? So what I want to show you first is I want to show you in the Collab Center, it's very, very easy to basically see when you've added the contact to the Collab Center. It's also easy to see if they're using it. So where I am right now is I'm right inside Paragon. But let me show you how I got here. So the agent, on the agent side, you can see anybody you've set up with the Collab Center site right from your contacts. So I simply go to Contacts and view and manage my contacts. That's going to show me everybody I've set up in Paragon, and I can see if they have new activity. I can also see if their site is set up, but I kind of like to see it as they see it. So this also gives you the ability to see their site just like they're seeing it by clicking on view their site. I like this setup though, because I can see when I added the contact. I can see when they last logged in and looked at the homes that are being sent to them. So I can see that Bob, my client who's looking for a home for his daughter, actually logged in yesterday to take a look at some homes. I can see that he received his last new notification yesterday. So I can kind of see in a bird's eye view exactly what's going on. But let's take a look at what the new enhanced Collab Center actually looks like. So of course, they can download this as an app as well, as I mentioned. If they're looking for a particular house someone told them about, they can simply type in the address, or hopefully maybe they're standing in front of Wynn's listing and they want all of the details. They can actually click the Near Me button and it will take them right to that specific listing. But let's actually see what the notifications look like. So anytime a house with their criteria goes onto the market, they get an immediate notification. You can, of course, set yourself up as the agent to be BCC'd, so you get that. But here's what I like about this. They can simply click into any of the listings that are sent to them. And of course, they can see all of those details that come over from the MLS in a nice user-friendly fashion. The days of sending those awful MLS sheets like we use as agents to clients, hopefully no one's doing that now. This Collab Center link allows them to see it in a much more user-friendly fashion. They can also do their own searches. And what I like about this is I can set up their original search, but let's say they modify that search. Let's say that they're going in and they change the price or they add some additional locations that they're looking at. I immediately get notified of that as the agent. So I can immediately see, oh, they've increased their price or, oh, they've added an additional area. Now, of course, I can scroll through here and I can see all of the details coming over from the MLS. But isn't it about time that we, the agents, can give our clients even more than they can see on places like IDX sites like Zillow or Realtor.com? And I'm happy to say this allows you to do that because this not only gives them up to the minute information because you're literally setting them up in the MLS database. So if something goes pending, within 30 seconds, they're going to see that that property is pending. But why this is so important is many times I'm sure you've gotten those calls where they find a house on Zillow and they call Judy and they say, hey, Judy, you didn't tell me about 123 Main Street. Judy looks it up and of course it's closed like 30 days ago, right? So the idea is this is always going to be the up to the minute database. This is going to have the information that's current. So that's one advantage. Two, what if I told you that your clients could actually see things like the seller's disclosures, the lead-based paint disclosures? In this case, the agent may have, in this case, they added the permit information for this home, septic information, other things like bylaws can be added. It's so nice, especially if you're looking for a condo. It's so nice when you can actually see all of that information as the consumer, as the client. So I can see, can I have two dogs in this condo? I don't have to wait for the agent to call the other agent and find out, oh, can they have two dogs? Yes or no? Or, are pets allowed? Things like that. What does it include? It's so nice when those associated documents that are already required in Paragon now come over for your clients to see. So what does this mean? This means that we, the agents, have more information than they can find out on those IDX sites. And isn't it about time? I think it kind of is. So this is a way that we can allow them to see those additional pieces as well. Of course, they can see property history, who had the property listed, how long it was listed for. They can see that on most IDX sites as well. But this is allowing them to do all of this in one convenient place. They can see information on the community, and there's even a mortgage payment calculator that will bring in some information. They can adjust the interest rate. I would love to see a 4% interest rate again, but they can actually make those adjustments and calculate an average monthly payment. So again, it's bringing them all to one place where they can do all of this. I also like that they can do a street view instead of, if they're looking 2 hours away, let's say that they're looking up in let's say the top of Michigan, maybe in that northern Great Lakes area, they can actually click on the street view and they can see the home. They can literally walk down the street, see the properties to the left, see the properties to the right, and they can actually view the entire neighborhood right from one central place. So again, setting them up in the Collab Center is a way you're literally creating a saved search of all the information that they're looking for in a property, and you can automate it or basically flip the switch. So anytime a new property with that criteria hits the market, it immediately goes out to them. Now, of course, because it's automated, there has to be workarounds, right? Because I wish I could say every real estate transaction was the same and perfect, but that is truly not the case. So how do we automate this so it meets those unique situations that we all find ourselves in? I'm going to give you a good yet kind of embarrassing example. So I had this client who was just a gem of a lady. We closed her house. Everything was just like one of those really smooth transactions. I was so happy. Those people who just becomes your friend afterward. So we ended up having coffee after, and she was saying, hey, my sister has started to look for a home, and I gave her all of your contact information. And I thought, well, this is wonderful. She'll be just a gem of a person like this lady. She was actually the polar opposite. And her second call to me went something like this: Colleen, if you send me one more yellow-sided house, I'm going to fire you and get another agent. Now, first of all, she had never mentioned she didn't like yellow siding, right? But we all know that sometimes dealing with buyers, especially in this market, can be a little challenging. So there is no button, by the way, in the MLS that says remove all yellow sided houses, right? So for those more challenging clients, you can do what we call an agent preview. This basically sets up the search. Anytime a new property becomes available, it emails it first to you, the agent. And you can say, okay, yeah, that one has yellow siding, probably not going to send that one. After you approve that listing, let's say it doesn't have yellow siding, it then goes directly onto your client. So it's a way that you can eye it first instead of having to log into the MLS and constantly run that search over and over again for that client. You can still do it in this fast and automated way. It simply goes to you, the agent, first. If you approve it and you say, yep, this one doesn't have yellow siding, it can immediately then go right on to your client. If you get it and it does have yellow siding, there's a disapprove. You simply check it off, and that listing is no longer going to go anywhere. So it's not going to travel on to the client. So some really easy ways to basically have workarounds. We also know in this market, due to the low inventory, that a lot of times what they think they're going to buy isn't really what they're going to buy, right? So if you've been doing real estate as long as Lisa or as long as myself, you know that a lot of times they come in with, we want this, we want that, and then they see market conditions and they realize, wow, we're probably either going to have to increase our price range or maybe decrease a few of our haves and wants, right? We already know that. But how do you work with a client and still sort of give those properties that maybe they weren't originally looking for? So let me give you a good example. A friend of mine just listed a property, and I was helping a first time home buying couple, and they must have said 30 times to me, I only want to see St. Clair houses in St. Clair Shores. Only want to see, we love the parks, we love the area. We only want to see houses in St. Clair Shores. So, of course, we did their search and we simply set up St. Clair Shores because that's all they wanted to see. However, this friend, my friend Dawn, listed a house 2 streets out of St. Clair Shores. So it didn't come up in their automated search. But the minute she started describing this home, every bell and whistle in my head went off. I knew this was the right home for them. Sure enough, I put it as an agent recommended in their collab center. I'm going to show you all of this in just a moment. Sure enough, they saw the pictures. I got them to go and take a look at it. We wrote it right there in the kitchen and we closed it up 30 days later. So sometimes we, the agents, know what they're going to buy even more than they do. So it still gives you the ability, even though it didn't meet their exact criteria they were looking for, it still gives you that ability to send those additional listings that you think might be perfect for them. So it's got a lot of workarounds. Even though it's automated, it still lets the client do that. So on the collaboration side, as you can see, they also have the ability to run their own searches. They can create their own saved searches. But again, if you give them the ability to modify that, then I can see it as the agent. I immediately get a notification if they've changed anything that I had set up originally for their search. So I love that. They can also ask questions. Let's go in. Let me show you a couple other pieces on the agent side that I really like. So if you are sending these automated properties to your clients and you want to immediately be notified if a new property comes up that they want to see, what I tell my clients is, you know what, there's a little heart on every property. If they want to immediately see that property, all they have to do is click that favorite button, that little heart, and it immediately gets sent over to you via email to the agent. So you can now see, oh yeah, they want to see this home on Jefferson. I want to go ahead and get that scheduled right away. So usually what happens right about here, I get that notification that there's a new property they want to see. Because it's such a fast moving market, we immediately want to schedule those showings. So now I have to call Mr. Fumagalli and I have to say, Mr. Fumagalli, what time would you like to see this property? He inevitably will say, Mrs. Fumagalli, let me reach out to her, see when she's available, we'll call you back. Now the property is usually pending. So here's what I recommend. If you can get your clients to favorite those listings like you see, right down here, there is a request a showing button. They can actually put in the time and the date that they want to see that property along with any comments that they have. Now, this does not schedule the showing for you. Let me just kind of clarify that. It just tells you, the agent, so you don't have to reach out every single time they want to see a house. It just tells you, the agent, it's delivered to you via email so that you can see right away, oh, they favorited this house, and you can also see the time that they want to see it. So that makes it a little bit easier, saves you at least a call generally. All right. Couple of other things. Of course, they can flag it as a possible property. They can say, no, they don't like it. Sometimes I like to see what they don't like just so I know a little bit more about what they're looking for. They can tag a property. They can also, my little go-to webinar box here, right up here at the top, there are some additional options. So let's say that they are looking at these 4 homes. Maybe they favorited those. I've gotten the alert. Maybe they just want to drive by those houses tonight to kind of take a look. They can go right up here to the kind of looks like a street sign, if you will, and they can create driving directions. So they literally can put them in the order that they want to drive to see them. Maybe they want to compare these 4 properties. Maybe you have a client who's looking for acreage or things like that. And maybe you kind of want to stack the properties up or compare the properties before you go out and see them. There's a compare button that you can hit right up here at the top, which is literally going to stack those properties next to each other. so that I can see, oh yeah, this one had a little more acreage, or this one was a story and a half, the other ones are ranches. We kind of wanted to stay with the ranch. So it literally allows them to stack those properties side by side to view them. Up here at the top, they can also easily share properties. They can send them via text out to maybe family, or maybe out to a spouse or someone else. They can copy the link and send it that way. They can even send it on Facebook. So maybe they just want to send it via Messenger to someone. So very easy for them to share and compare those listings too. Right over here, again, they can quickly favorite or tag or see just what they favorited, so it kind of filters them down too. But easy ways for them to use the tools. And I think you can see the nicest thing about this is it's user friendly. You don't have to call and give them instructions like it used to be in the old days. But here's how this one works. This is how this app works. They can simply favorite things. They're immediately sent to you along with the time and date that they'd like to see them. And Lisa, do we have any questions? I saw the little
Yes,
is
yes,
there
perfect timing. I was just about to answer. So
okay.
he's asking if there's a way for the clients to not download the Collab Center and still get all those features just the way like Zillow via just a browser. And so I was just about to. That's what
So
you
yes, they can simply click on it and open it to have the best experiences. It does prompt them to download the app. The reason that the app is helpful is because they get those immediate notifications on their phone. So can you send properties without them having to download the app? Absolutely. But for the best user experience, I have to say, just because of the market conditions, truly, if a new property goes onto the market, I want them to get that immediate pop up. You know how you get the notifications on your phone? That's really why they recommend downloading it. Could they just click on it? Yes, they could. Would it be probably as efficient to view it? Yeah, but I like the notification option. I think it just makes it a little bit simpler. All right, filtering, you can also filter. That's kind of where, if you favorite things, you can say, I just want to see my favorites. You can also tag so that you can go back, maybe two-car garage, things like that. Kind of gives you a way to go back and filter and find things. It will also give you that map view. If I click on a listing, you can also have that map view. I didn't click on a listing, so but that'll allow you, if there's a few properties like you're seeing here, I can jump in from that map view as well.
Kelly.
So yes.
I do have a few more questions coming in as you're going through. So one of the agents wants to know what the tag option is used for.
So tagging is if you want to be able to go back and look at a particular listing based on, let's say that I had a two-car garage. So tagging allows you to be able to go back and find those listings based on a tag that you placed on it. So if let's say that you wanted to tag, you got 10 houses, there's two that had three-car garages. You wanted to tag those as three-car garages. It just allows you to filter and find those. I kind of showed you the filtering here, but you can actually filter on those types of things as well. So you can actually filter on the tags. And we'll do some examples as we go through on that.
Perfect. And one other question, with client viewing the uploaded documents, Matt was saying he thought he saw the listing contract. Was that in the one that you were just showing? Did someone accidentally upload it?
Then that could be whatever the agent has added to the listing in Paragon. So I'm not sure which property I'd clicked on to be totally honest, but if it was this one just has the lead-based paint and seller's disclosure. So hopefully the agent did not upload the listing agreement. One, because that would be in violation of our rules. So maybe it was the first one. If they did, that certainly would be a problem, because that would also probably have commissions on it, which we do not allow in the MLS. So if that is the case, and it does look like there is a listing agreement. I wasn't sure which one I clicked on to open, but it does look like there is a listing agreement. So Lisa, make a note of that so we can take a look at that list.
Yeah, give me 1 second. Let me just take a picture of the address and I will make sure to contact that agent. I'm sure it was accidental.
It probably was. It may be a new agent as well. But yes, no, listing agreements should not be, especially with the big NAR lawsuits. And it does happen still occasionally. But with all the MLS practice changes, as you know, The MLS can no longer show compensation and commissions in the MLS. And so that would not be allowed. So I guess that was a bad example. But when you do these things live, it's not like you can edit them. So a better example would be, God, I love technology live. A better example would be under the document section, a seller's disclosure, a lead-based paint, a survey. If they've had a perk test on the land, those would be all better examples. Remind me, Lisa, when I upload this class to edit that piece out.
Yes.
Okay. That was a good catch. Whoever caught that, that was really good because I didn't even catch it going through the property quickly, but that was good. Okay,
Yeah,
so let's go
that
in.
was. I have one more. Can you please
Okay.
tell me what is the name of the app to have client download? I missed that.
Sure. It is actually the Collab Center. I'm going to actually show you what goes to the client and how easy it is. So it does, when you set the client up in Paragon, it does push out a welcome email. That gives them where they can download right away. It gives them the Google Play Store and the App Store. It's the Collab Center. And all they do is click on it. It will download to their phone, but it also gives them an activation code to be connected with you. So, and I'm going to show all of that because that's kind of some of the new stuff. You can, if they've already downloaded it, if they went to the App Store and they downloaded the Collaboration Center, and they weren't working with you yet, let's say they downloaded it, you told them about it, but now they're like, oh, well, how do you see the stuff I'm downloading? And you didn't send the initial welcome. You can always re-push this code to them, which will allow them to be immediately connected to you. And so that's some of the new enhancements that they added. And I'm going to actually show you that when we go through the setup. These are all great questions. Again, they can go in, they can leave comments for you. They can suggest a time that they want to see it. So it really is a way, kind of just what it says, to collaborate fully with you. The app is the Collaboration Center, and I'm going to show you exactly what gets sent to your client. I kind of like to see it myself before a client does, and I'm going to show you how everything from setting it up to where you're going to find that activation code afterward, just in case they downloaded it already and weren't connected to you. Let me show you one more thing on the agent side, and then we're going to flip over to actually the setup and getting your preferences and everything loaded. One of the things that I like that is very hidden in here, and I actually have to give all the props to Lisa because she's the one who actually showed me this many years ago, is on the scheduling of the listing side. And I love this. I had no idea existed. And when Lisa showed me, I swear I said, I'm going to teach this in every class, Lisa, because this is so good. When they start to favorite things. So Bob has gone in. Bob is getting the notifications from the search that I set up from him, right? So now he says, okay, yep, got 11 new matches. By the way, husbands and wives or spouses or partners or investors, they can share a site in the Collab Center. They can create folders. They can leave notes for one another. I mean, so it really allows everyone to collaborate, right? But one of the things I really like is as they start to favorite things, so I'll just favorite a couple of these, not only am I getting that notification that they're favoriting something, but if I want to immediately schedule those showings, as I mentioned, I can tell them put in the time and date that they want to see it. But there's a reason I do that. It makes it so convenient on the agent side when all I have to do is go into the contact. So I went into their contact record. I can see Bob has favorited some properties. I just added a couple more, so there might be a couple more there. I'm going to click on that favorite number, that number 5. In this case, I just went and added a couple more, so there's a few more here. Watch how cool this is. So I want to now schedule these showings because I don't want these to go pending, right? And so I can see right here that these are either ABOs or actives. And I can see this one's an ABO, so maybe I don't want to schedule a showing on that one. Maybe I want to show the other ones first. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to select the ones I want to show. And you know what? Because that's an ABO, I'm not going to show that one first. I'm going to show the others. Now, I have a little OCD, to be completely honest, and I hate when things are messy, like that there's one we're not using and it's just hanging out there. So I also like to click this checked box. So I'm really only working with the ones that I want to schedule showings for. Okay, so here's the magic. Another quick tip, I kind of like to give a couple tips and tricks as we go along. Lisa and I doing this, Lisa doing this 30 years, me doing it 25. I definitely like to know who has the property listed. Not that I wouldn't show and any particular agent's listings because that would be wrong, as we know. But I got to tell you, I have been really blessed. I've worked with mostly great agents. 99% of the agents I've done transactions with, I've been really blessed. I've learned from some of them. Most of them call me back, which I hear, a lot of people saying, geez, they don't even call you back. I've been really blessed. Has been the occasional 1 or 2% that haven't called you back from any of the urgent calls you left from the home inspection, or you feel like you've worked with their client more than they have because they're not returning their calls either. We all know those agents, right? Not that I wouldn't show those agents, but if I'm going to show these 6 properties, put them at the bottom of the list generally. So I'm going to have great agents like, Ed Martin and Lisa and Win Atkins and those great agents. I'm going to have them first in my long list. So you can, if you're not aware of this, in Paragon, you can add the names of the agents who have the property listed. It does not come that way out of the box. So let me show you very quickly how, if you're interested in doing that, you can even add the name and the cell phone number so that they show up right in your view. Now, could you open each one of these and see it? Absolutely. But sometimes you just want to schedule your showings in a way that, maybe Aaron Monzo's up at the top of my list. And so how do you do that? Right here under Customize, right here in your toolbar, you can customize what you want to be in your search results and where. Another thing I like about this is if you're always having to scroll over, like if you've got a lot of detail that you're including, and especially if you have your screen, I'm going to blow this up. If you've got your screen blown up like most of us do, because I'm getting old and my eyes aren't that good, a lot of times I find myself having to scroll over, as you can see, to get those additional details. So instead of doing that, all you have to do is hit Customize Fields. This allows you to literally drag and drop the fields in the order that you want. So in my real life searching, one of the things I like to know the status of the listing really close to the actual listing. So I'm going to move that up. I like it to go photo, status, MLS number. Maybe original MLS number is not ever something you use. You might want to drag that down to the bottom or simply take it out altogether. The agent name. So I'm going to remove that so I can show you how to add it in. So I'm going to take that one out. Anything you don't want in your search results, just pull it right out of there. If there's something that you do want, though, that's not there, let me show you how to add that agent and agent name. So there's different groups. Are you looking to add something about the listing, like acreage or something like that? Are you looking to, in this case, it would be related to the agent. So I'm going to select agent. And I'm going to say that maybe you want the agent name. You could even do the agent along with their email. All you have to do is find that particular field that you're looking for. So in this case, if I'm looking for agent name, you could do agent name with cell phone number. All you're going to do is check it off. So let me find that agent name. Right up here at the top. I just wanted to show you. There's a ton, by the way. So there's a ton. There's co-listing agent, agent with phone number, agent with name. There's what else is there? There's so many. Agent with email. But you get the idea. So I'm going to say I want to have the agent name and phone number in my search results. So I'm going to go ahead and hit add. And it always is going to drop that at the bottom of your list. Okay, so you can see it's dropped down here. But this is something I really kind of like to see as soon as I open it of who has that property listed. So I'm going to say I may want to put that next to year built. I'm going to just drag that into place. Now I'm just going to save it. So now you can see it's photo active like I wanted. Now I can see the municipality. I can see the agent name, all of that without having to scroll all the way over each time. So don't be afraid to customize. You can always go back to your default. So don't worry, you can't screw it up, I promise you. This is just a really easy way. If there's something that you're always having to open the listing to see that you want to see right in your search results, just simply add it in. You can also Um, and a lot of people say, I didn't know you could do that. You can also expand these and it will remember that for the next time. So if I want to expand this, I can see the whole phone number or I want to minimize it, kind of works just like an Excel spreadsheet. So if there's something you find yourself, kind of always having to squint to open, you can actually expand it. It will save it in your preferences. You can also, like an Excel spreadsheet, you can move columns around. Maybe I want the asking price to be over here by the municipality. That's really in my real life. That's what I would like to see next. So you can drag those columns and it will remember that in your preferences. So you don't have to do that every single time. All right. So we've got our six selected here. And we now want to take those six that they've already favorited. I know those are the ones that they want to see. And I now want to take those right into showing time. I want to schedule those in a really easy way. I don't want to have to go one by one and grab my phone and now put them in order. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to keep them selected. And I'm going to go up to what I call the easy button. It's the easy button for me. That's how I remember it. Just it's up here in actions. Kind of looks like a plug, if you will. That easy button is going to take all of those listings you just selected and it's going to throw them in the showing time cart for you. Now remember, all I did was click on that number 6. So it made it easy to take all the ones that they favorited, plop them right in my showing time cart so I can schedule everything at one view. So let's do that. So I'm clicking on showing time and I'm basically going to create a new showing time cart. You can go ahead and you could add a buyer's name to it. We're just going to say we're setting these up for Barry Buyer. Of course, you could add a new buyer in as well. And then we're going to pick the date we want to show these. So because it's a snowstorm, we're going to pick Friday. I remember I showed a few too many homes where you had to actually carry a snow shovel. So not doing that. All right, so next you can see that it's now dropped them in, but look at that terrible driving order, right? Because it's dropped them in from the MLS. So the first thing I want to do is I want to click that Smart Route button, and I want to organize them in a more logical, especially since gas is still expensive. We want to make sure that that's going in a logical driving order. The other thing I really like about this is let's say that Judy is running out and she's going to show this property last minute. She can see right here under appointment type, oh, some of these the seller needs to confirm, and some are going to be an immediate lockbox, like the go and show. So if I'm running out last minute, I might want to put these two go and shows at the top so that I know I'm going to get an immediate confirmation. We can get in while we're waiting for those others to be confirmed. Another thing I really like about this is out where Judy's from in that Claire Gladwin area. Out there, they are covering a big amount of area. And so sometimes that drive time is 30 minutes or 40 minutes or whatever it happens to be. Maybe she's driving from Sugar Springs over to, I don't know, Taos. And so she wants to make sure that she can see how long it's going to take to drive from property A to property B. So Judy can see, okay, yeah, 12 minutes from property A to property B. And now when I'm scheduling, I can also see if there's any blackout times or if the agent doesn't allow overlapping showings, it will show you times that that listing is not available. So I love that because all too many times we start, if we're doing them one by one, maybe you want to start at 10 o'clock, you book the next one for 10:30, then you go to show the third one, you're like, oh geez, it's blacked out from 11 to 12. Now I got to reorder everything. So I like that I can see all of that on one convenient screen. So if I'm ready to go ahead and now schedule my times, I can say, okay, I want to show this one from 9:15 to, let's say 10:15. I know that I need 12 minutes of drive time, so that should cover it. So I want to show that next one from 10:30 to 10:45. So I can go ahead and build out my showing time cart. Now, if you're like me, I don't know if I had my share of challenging buyers lately, but you might have gotten all of your cart all set up. And then they call and you know what they say? Colleen, we found one more house that we want to see. So you finally got all these confirmations. You can always go back and click edit into your showing time cart, and you can add another listing. Right up here, it says add listing stop. All you have to do is click there, put the MLS number in. Now, you might have to reconfigure your time frames. That it doesn't do for you, but it allows you to add another listing should they find one as you're running out the door, which seems to always happen to me. You can also, let's say that being the great agent that Judy is, she wants to take them out for lunch in between property 3 and property 4. You can click add another stop and put the address of the restaurant in. Now, why would you do that? Well, because you can also create turn-by-turn directions that you can send out to your buyer. So you can literally send it to his phone or you can send it to his email. He then has those turn-by-turn directions. So he's not calling you going, Judy, what's the next house? Which was number 2? Which was number 3? You're literally sending them those turn-by-turn directions from here. So I love that. I love that you can do all of that. If you remember how we started, we did all of that by simply clicking that number 5 here or number 6, whatever it happens to be, clicking that number right under the contact. So remember, get your clients to favorite things in the Collab Center. Once they favorite things, they are automatically delivered to you. Now, when you go back to see those favorites, you can easily schedule everything by simply clicking on the number. All right, Lisa, do we have some more questions rolling in?
Actually, no, you've done a great explanation so far, so we're good.
All right, good deal, good deal. All right, so let's talk about how you set all of this up, right? The first thing before you do anything is you want to make sure you have all of your photo in. You want to have your social media links in. You want to set it up so when they get that welcome from you, it's got your branding and your look. So try to make that easy. In order to do that, you're going to go to Preferences. Just like when you first set up the MLS, by the way, you can change your topper in Paragon as well. These are under your user preferences. Lisa, I got to tell you this funny story. So I put the Northeastern one on recently, just because I like it. It's got freighters that come in the background, and the 80s one is really funny. ET kind of flies out over your screen. It's kind of funny. But I was teaching, and one of the questions that came into the webinar was, why is there a whiskey bottle on the top of your Paragon screen? I think it's supposed to be maple syrup, quite honestly, but I guess if you see whiskey, it works for it. So,
yeah, I think it's maple syrup as well, but we can say it's whiskey. It's all good.
Did make me laugh. I'm like, I did not think of that. So anyway, I just had to share that with somebody because I thought that was pretty ingenious. Anyway, under preferences is how you're going to set your Collab Center up. Under preferences, under system, this is the same place that you went when you set up Paragon the very first time that you logged in. Under system, and I'm going to move my GoToWebinar back so I can actually get to it. Under your preferences, you'll see Collab Center Preferences Wizard. This will literally walk you through setting up everything so it looks like your branding. They see exactly what you want them to see. Literally 8 steps, and all you have to do is hit start. The first thing you're going to see, obviously, your name. Do you want your cell phone displayed? I certainly do. Do you want your email address displayed? And what are the social media links that you want to put in there? Maybe you have a website, your IBX website. Maybe you want your Facebook link to be in there, your LinkedIn. So if you've got a video resume, you can actually put that in there as well. So it's just basically over on the left-hand side when you get that welcome, is there other things that you want to include? Obviously, you want to have your photo. So we're going to go ahead and hit next here. But it will literally walk you through. Now, the Collab Center page is you can put information about you, a little bit about the Collab Center, why they should use it. But that is just the message that's delivered when you're going in and setting them up. Page 4 is just other links. If you've got other links that you want to add here so that they see those within using the Collab Center, basically just to connect you. Then step 5 is your office number. Do you want your office number to be displayed? Is there a secondary office number? Do you want your office logo to be displayed? And of course, these are all things that I want. Okay, I bring you to this step for a very important reason. And again, this I have to credit Lisa for because she actually showed me this. Originally, when I set up my collab center, I first of all, when they open this up, you got everything selected. Now, I don't know about you, but I seem to get just a ton of emails. Don't want to know if they don't like a listing. Don't send me that. I only want to know, do they like the listing? Do they want to see the listing, right? I don't need to know every time that they say, hey, I hate this listing. I don't need to know that. I don't care. I can go back into the history and see all that anyway. But I do want to be notified if they favorite a listing. I do want to notify if it hits the possible pile because maybe I know something about that listing. Maybe I know it just had a price change or something like that. So that I would like to know. Again, don't want to be notified if the listing gets rejected. And then do I want to be notified if comments are placed? Absolutely. Do I want to know if a client makes a new search? Yes, absolutely. If they modified the search I set up, those are all things I want to know. I don't need to know all the other details. I just need to know what they really like seeing. So there is a client notification list, and then there is an agent notification. So if you're one of those people who doesn't want 1,000 email, you do want to adjust these options because you do not want to, get barraged with email. You can also BCC yourself. So if you want every single email, God bless you. I don't know how you go through them all, but you absolutely can do that. I just don't want that. And I don't think most people do either. This step is very important, step 7. And I have to give Lisa the credit. I was thinking it was the step before, but it's this one. Um, I had originally set up my defaults. And by the way, these are kind of your defaults. You can set it up differently on a client level. So if you've got all your defaults doing one thing and you have one really difficult client, you can always change something specifically for that client. However, I mainly do residential, a little bit of vacant land, not a lot. So I have just selected the class for residential and vacant land as my defaults. Okay, so that when they go to run a search, they see that. However, I originally only selected active, and here was the problem that I found with that. When I selected active, things are selling so quickly. I was not giving them the ability to see pendings or solds. Now, I still don't give them, expireds and, a bunch of other things, but I do recommend that you do all actives, solds, and pendings. And here's why. When things are selling as fast as they are right now, they're getting the notification to their phone immediately because that's how I have their Collab Center site set up. So if a new listing comes up, we don't want to miss it, it goes to them immediately. But the problem is when that's happening, if the property, let's say the property goes pending within an hour, okay? So they have a showing, they mark it pending or a couple hours, and now your client goes back to view it from the notification he got. If that property is pending, and you don't give them the ability to see pendings or solds, it looks like it's broken, basically, because you're not giving them the ability to see that. So they can, by the way, they can see that on other IDX sites anyway, right? They can go to Zillow, they can go to many other sites and see sold and pending information. So why would I limit them being able to see it? Plus, if it goes pending enough, they know they got to be, fast on the spot on these properties in this market. So I don't recommend just going with active. You should always include the solds and pendings because you don't want them to click on it and try to go back. And then all of a sudden they can't see it and they think, oh, this stupid system's broken. So I do recommend that when you're setting it up, you do active, solds, and pendings. Okay, and then last, would you like to include other things? I don't think most of us want to include a Zestimate or, things like that. So I have not checked any of those. So that's it. Your Collab Center is set up. Again, where you find your preferences so that you can customize it with your photo, anything else is under Preferences, under System, and you will find the Collab Center Preferences Wizard. You only have to do it one time, but that's going to make sure that your site looks just like you want it to. All right, so how do we build a search and set it up for our clients to immediately get those notifications? So let's go there next. Hopefully you can see the value. I kind of like to, like I said, I kind of like to show it to you backwards. And I apologize, but it's nice when you can see it and you see all it does before you go through all of the setup process. So now let's talk about creating a search and turning your clients on to the Collab Center, some of the additional options. So obviously, for the Collab Center, you're going to go in and you're going to search by class. So obviously, if they're looking for a single family home, that's what we're going to do today. I'm going to pick single family home. If you're new to Paragon, remember, if you don't know what goes in a particular field, just simply go over to the right where you find those magnifying glasses, and it will tell you what that field's asking for. Just like I showed you with the listing agent name, you can also customize what goes in here and the order you want. So if you are scrolling down all the way to the bottom to find acreage each time, stop doing that. Move it way up in your search so you don't always have to scroll to the bottom for the necessities for your business. And by the way, everybody's different. So if you have a niche, you're selling a lot of acreage, you might want that to be right up at the top. Same process as I showed you before. Simply go to Customize and Fields, and you can drag and drop those into whatever order you want. So if there's a field that's not in there that you're using all the time, simply add it in. If there's a field you hate that you're always scrolling past, like I'm going to give you a good example. I am never going to search by zip code. Okay. But I was teaching a class a couple of days ago in Detroit, and they were saying, look, Detroit is too big. We can't search by this. Is too much in the map. It's confusing. They search by zip code. So we just added zip code in for them, and they were so happy. So you can add those in, but if there's something you don't want, you can take it out too. All right. So in this case, we're going to try to make this pretty easy. I'm going to say that my client is searching in the Sterling Heights area. They're searching in the, and we have people from all over on this call, so I apologize if I'm not using your area. I'm just going to grab a couple that are close to me. I'm searching in Sterling Heights and Clinton Township. They don't want to lease. They just want to know what's for sale. I'm looking for actives for this buyer. I can go in, let's say that we are looking for one-story homes. We're looking for ranches. They want a minimum of 3 bedrooms, right? They need at least a bath and a half. So I'm going to do a total of 2. They want a basement, but they want a finished basement. So not just a basement, they want a finished basement. They don't want to go through any basements that aren't finished. They need that extra living area downstairs. So here I can put basement, but how do I do finished basement? I'm going to show you that in just a second. How about garage? Yes, they want a garage, but they want an attached garage. They don't want to have to walk to a secondary garage. So how do you add those types of things in? So if you're not too familiar with Paragon, you're going to add those in by going to features. And by the way, features work like this. Must have this item. And this is really important when you're setting up your automated searches, because remember, these are automatically being delivered to your client. So unless you're doing that agent preview, I want to make sure they're getting everything that they really want. So for instance, if they've said 8 times, I only want a finished basement, and I'm dragging them through a bunch of houses with no finished basement, they're probably not going to be too happy, right? And so I want to include that. So I'm going to go to where it says must have. Maybe I want to pick finished and partially finished. So only if it has those options selected is it going to go to my client. Then there's the option of must not have. Recently helped a husband and wife who were going through a divorce. And unfortunately, although the husband had explained that the septic field was 2 years old, it was not 2 years old. It was more like close to 30 years old. And because he placed a swimming pool on top of it, I know, I said the same thing. Can't really believe that happened. But he put a swimming pool on top, so it actually crushed the septic field underneath. And it happens to be in Macomb County, which is a pass and fail septic, if you know anything about that, meaning it has to be tested before you can close. So long story short, when the wife called me to find her new house, she said, Colleen, don't show me anything on a septic field. Don't ever show me a home that I have to maintain a septic field. That's probably because it cost her almost $18,000 to replace her septic field with a raised engineered septic field. So one of the things she said was no septics. So I can actually put that in must not have, and anything with a septic field is then not going to go to her. Okay, so just a couple examples. Then what if you have a client, Lisa has a great story of this. If you ever see Lisa, and I won't share it on the call, but Lisa has an absolutely phenomenal story that I swear if I hadn't been there and seen it, I couldn't have believed it. But this particular homeowner had a gun manufacturing business, and they needed either a pole barn or an oversized shed to be able to manufacture these really cool gun handles. Anyway, long story short, there's a whole funny story behind it, trust me. But in this case, it would mean it had to have either the shed or the pole barn. It has to have at least one of those options in order to go to the client. Now, you're probably thinking with 6,000 features, yes, I did say 6,000, how do you know what the features are even called? So here's a quick tip. Over to the right where that magnifying glass is, they're actually organized by items. So if you're looking for a finished basement, it's going to make sense to go to basement, find finished, and say, yep, must have a finished basement. Makes sense, right? If you are looking for, let's say your client has a boat. This is another really good example. Client has a boat and they said, it's not like we have to be right on lakefront. We love lakefront, but we would take canal frontage or lake frontage, or if it's over here on Harson's Island, that would work. We'll take river frontage or riverfront or waterfront. So it allows you, the agent, to select. If any of those are selected by the agent, he just has a boat. He doesn't care if he's particularly right on lakefront. He just wants to get his boat down to Lake St. Clair. That is a really easy way to make sure that you've selected. It has to have at least one of those in order to qualify on his list. So I personally love that. I think it just makes it a little bit easier. If you've got something, again, like a attached garage, you can go right to garage type and you can find attached garage must have. So hopefully that gives you a couple examples of how, if you're trying to customize this. Oh, one more. I was teaching this class about 2 weeks ago, and somebody said, well, what if it's a land, he only wants to buy on land contract? How do you set that up? There's even a section under the features that is financial terms. My eyes are getting bad. I have to really squint these days. Financial features allow you to pick. Maybe they're looking for something on an FHA 203K. Maybe they're looking for something that the seller says, you know what, I'm okay with land contract terms. You don't want to send them everything. You want to really just send him what he can get on a land contract. So this allows you to even search by those financial terms. All right, so we've got our nothing in Sterling Heights is going to be on the water, so I'm going to take that out, but just wanted to show you some examples. So we have our search criteria set up. You can see only 17 actives, kind of frightening. The more search criteria you put in, obviously, the less results that you're going to get. So I'm going to take a few of these out just so we can have a few things to look at here. I do want to put in our basement though. So I am going to say that, yes, we do want to have a basement. And again, if you wanted to put in finished, you just go down to the features. All right, so we've got our 46 properties in those two cities. The next thing we're going to do is we are now going to pull up those results. But I want to save this now. So we've got our results. I now want to do, instead of just sending these, let's say you could text them. Someone asked, could you, if you don't want to have to deal with the app at all, you could just send the Collab Center link. They can just click on the link. They can open the properties. But in most cases, what we want to do is we want to set up that automated way, right? We want to set up the search one time. And now I want it to automatically, anytime a new property hits the market, I want it to go out to my client without having to touch it all the time. So in that case, we're going to do a save search as. The Collab Center is as simple as that. It's creating the search, putting in their haves and wants, and simply marrying it to the contact that you want to receive it. That is the hardest part of turning on the Collab Center. A couple other things I want to show you though. So we are going to name this our Lisa Harris search. In case we ever want to modify it, we want to know what she's looking at. And we're going to go over here to the contact that we want to marry it to. So I'm going to say we're going to add our new contact. I'm going to put Lisa, our buyer. And I'm going to put Lisa's email address in. And so we're going to do Lisa at mailing, just so you don't get 1,000 emails. Lisa, I'm going to create a fictitious one for you. All right, so we're going to go ahead and put in their contact information, their email address, and their name. It's that simple. The next step is we simply want to notify them of what the collab center is, right? We want to let them know we set up their search and we want them to get those notifications right away. So I'm going to hit save and notify. That is really it. The next step is just send the welcome to them. And that welcome actually, I like the welcome because on the welcome, it will show them one, the activation code, two, it will show them where to download it. I'm going to walk you through that in a second. But you can customize what you want. In that About Me page that we looked at in your preferences, I have changed mine so that it's custom. I have said, hey, great news. I set you up with the most accurate search because I've set you up like an agent in the MLS. Because we all know what happens. Buyers think that Zillow is like, all that and a bag of chips, right? So they're doing all their searches on Zillow until they call you 4 or 5 times saying, why didn't you send me 123 Main Street? And it's turned out that 123 Main Street closed, 60 days ago, but it's still showing active on Zillow. So I address that right here. I say this is more accurate than a lot of sites because I'm setting you up like an agent in the MLS. So you will see changes that happen immediately. In your welcome, so I'm going to go ahead and hit send welcome, and that's going to start the process. But one more thing I want to show you first. Up here, if you have, let's say you have a client and they are looking in a really big area. Maybe it's an investor and they're searching over multiple counties. You can always go to options and you can change how often those notifications are coming. So if they're calling you and they're saying, you know what, oh my gosh, I'm getting like 30 of these a day. Well, first of all, if that happens, you're pretty darn lucky in this low inventory market. But let's say that the market does flip and they're getting a few more notifications. You can actually change the time that your clients receive them. So if you don't want it to be immediate, maybe you want it to be Monday morning at 9 a.m. You could say, I want it to go once a week, Monday morning at 9 a.m. So you can actually customize it. You can also do that for yourself. So if you want to have yourself be CC'd on here and you just want a report Monday morning at 9 a.m. that goes to you, you can do that as well. So that way you're not getting overrun with, like I said, all those emails that we hate. Okay, so you can even adjust the time frames that you want it to go out. But what I want to do is I want to go ahead and send that welcome message. So there are 46 properties that have found, but we want anything new to automatically go to them, right? We want it to just immediately without us having to touch it. As I mentioned, you can preview what's in here by clicking the preview, but I do recommend customizing that in your preferences so it has a personalized message from you. And then lastly, we're just going to go ahead and hit send, and it's going to send that welcome message out to them. Some of the new enhancements that I mentioned is that they've added what we call an activation code, and that is in case they've downloaded the app. And I'm going to kind of show you what it looks like here as I scroll down. So when they get that welcome email, they can click on Get Started. But right down here is where they can download the app from either the Google Play Store or the Apple Store. And this is the activation code. So this is basically a way to connect it from them to you. Because if they just go to the App Store, they might not know, the App Store doesn't know that they're connected to you as the agent. So if they've downloaded it previously or they started using it, now you want them to be connected to you. They can do this invitation code that connects the two of you. If they didn't get their welcome, they went ahead and downloaded the app because you said to, you can always resend that code, that app invite code. That is, again, a way that they're going to be connected to you. So you can see everything that they favorite and immediately schedule those listings. Basically, to the left, anytime you need to make a change, you've got that whole menu here. So if I needed to change, let's say their contact information, maybe they gave me a different email address they wanted to go to. That happens all the time, right? You can go right here into their contact information and change that. If you wanted to do that agent preview that I mentioned, where it comes to you first as the agent, this is where you can turn that on. So I want to see it first before it goes out to my client so I can preview it. Does it have yellow siding? Maybe I don't want them to see that one. If they're a husband and wife or partners or spouses, you can go down here to the secondary name. Do you want them to get the notifications too? Here's something that most people don't know about Paragon. Paragon, it's a limited, so I don't want to sell you that it's like this awesome CRM program. And it basically has a way that you can track where leads come from, though. So my son goes to a little school here in Richmond, and I do a lot of the fundraising things and sponsorships and stuff. So I like to see, if I get a mom or dad that come in from that, I like to track it. Is my return on investment working? So if I get a prospect, either a seller or buyer, I can select that it was, let's say, a seller, but it came from Jake's school. So you can even set up groups in here, custom groups that you can track. Now, why I like to do that is if you are like, Lisa's great about this. Every year, Lisa sends out mailers and Christmas cards, and she's phenomenal about that. I'm not so good. She's really good. If you wanted to do actual the labels for those mailings, you can pull them right from here. Lisa actually teaches an awesome class on doing that, on creating an SOI, filtering your SOI so you're hitting the right people, and creating those mailing labels to generate things like your postcards, your Christmas cards, your just sold postcards, all that cool stuff. I'll tell you more about that in a minute. But this is where you can go in and you can actually customize where that lead came from or change any contact information. And all you have to do is hit save. You can also add additional searches. So it does not allow you, by the way, to set that person up in the collaboration set 4 or 5 times. Matter of fact, if you use your email address, you can't use it again. And there's a reason for that. The last thing you want to do is set your client up with 3 different portals, right? That would be a mess. How's he going to know when he's logging into one portal versus the other? No, they don't need to utilize passwords, but how inconvenient is it? You got one search set up for him over here, another search. So what it does is it tells you if you've already used that email address, but you can add more searches. So maybe they're looking for a vacant land and a fixer-upper. You can still add that to the same portal. You're just adding another search right here. You can, of course, modify a search. I can go into the actual search and change something by simply clicking on the actual search. I'll show you that in just a second. And basically, it's kind of walking you through. There is a history. So if you get those buyers, like I mentioned, that I seem to be kind of famous for, you can actually go into the message history once they've logged into the account, and you can see. So if they said, Judy, you sent me a home 2 weeks ago and it had black shutters. And we didn't think we'd like it, but we drove by and we do kind of like it now. You can actually see the message history that was sent to that client, the date and time it was sent, and you can see the homes that were sent out. So if they ever lose a house and you need to go back, everything that got sent to them is in the message history. As a matter of fact, case in point, I was at my own brokerage recently, and one of the agents kind of came up to me, kind of barking, and said, my client never got this house. And sure enough, we went right back into the message history, and it showed not only did her client get it, but her client opened it. So that's very helpful when you can go back just to show them, actually, this was sent, or maybe you missed it. There is also a seller side of this, and it kind of works like the old listing book. If you remember a listing book, if you've been around a while, listing book was a tool that allowed you to give your seller a way to see if there were new listings in their marketplace, if someone dropped the price, basically kind of give them a neighborhood snapshot, if you will. So if you are helping them find their new home, and you're also on the listing side where you have their house listed, you can turn on the seller activity. And what that means is you can associate their listed property, a property you have listed, so they can see if someone dropped their price, they can see if a new house went up, they can see basically what's going on in their neighborhood inventory too. So you can actually even associate that sell side. So in their portal, they can see what's going on with their house price, as well as they can even create new searches for what they want to see for the future. So a lot of cool stuff there. All right. So yes.
So I have quite a few questions here, so I want to see if you can kind of go through these. So first of
Okay.
all, Matt would like you to open up the Collab Center Preference Wizard and go to page 6. You showed your notifications, what you had selected. He'd like to take a look at that real quick, if you don't mind.
Oh, sure, absolutely. And again, we recorded all this, so if I know I'm going over at a kind of light speed, but you can go back to the recording. I'm going to show you where to find that too. I think you said page 6.
Yeah,
Um,
notifications for each client. That's it.
okay, great. Yeah, Matt, you do not, I guarantee you, you do not want to know every single listing that they hate. You definitely do not want to know every time an open house gets scheduled. It will make you insane. And I think Lisa will agree with me that Lisa does sometimes have excess emails, I will say, when she opens her Yahoo that she doesn't use a whole lot and it has like, 10,000. I go, oh my gosh, gives me anxiety just looking at it. So yeah, if you don't want all those emails, of course you could set up another email that they go to, like in that example. But for me, that's too much work. So I just uncheck the ones I don't want to see.
Perfect. Matt said thank you. He did get it.
Good,
Next, I
great.
have Deep was asking, okay, so water features, and I know this is an ongoing issue. Waterfront, yes or no, is mandatory when listings are inputted, but features are not. So he's saying if we can't find some type of waterfront within the features option, how else can you search it if it's in remarks? So I was explaining to him about word search. So could you just show me how to customize and add the word search?
Absolutely. So let me go back up to searches here at the top. Kind of going back to that you can add all those custom fields, I think is what Lisa's referring to. So you can also search on words. So if I go into fields, and I'm sorry, Lisa, which field was I adding here? I'm sorry.
Just word search.
So if you go up to the find box right here, you can actually search on specific words that are in like the public or agent comments. And so I can add word search here. Go over, we'll add that in. Remember, it's always going to drop it at the bottom. I'm going to move that up here. And this is not one I have in my search. So this is a good example, Lisa. I'm going to apply that in. And now we have our word search right here. Now we can go ahead and I think you were saying more on waterfront.
That's correct. So you could put in different waterfront features or just, waterfront or whatever word you want to use. That way it searches the whole listing for it. He had mentioned about remarks because sometimes it's just put in the remarks, which it is, but you would have to search the different remarks field in order to find it. And it's not always in agent remarks. So I would use the word
Right.
search because then it searches everything.
That's a good one. That's a good. I didn't even have that in my own. See, every time I teach this class with you, Lisa, I learn something. So
Oh, thank you.
it's I love the classes we get to teach together because I always pick up one or two little things. Because nobody, I guarantee you, nobody goes through all 6,000 fields. And every once in a while, Lisa will find one that's really great, or the full addresses field I'll show, and someone will go, "Oh my gosh, I didn't even know it did that. I didn't know you could copy 20 addresses from your client on Zillow and paste them into a field." So there's all these little great tips that hopefully you can pick up in these classes. So that's why I love teaching with you, Lisa.
Thank you. So I have a couple more. Pam would like
Okay.
to know when a welcome message is sent from Collab Center, is a code automatically sent to the client?
Yes, great question. When that email goes out, it automatically gives that code in the welcome. If for some reason they downloaded it and they didn't see it though, and you need to resend it, I'll show you where that is. As soon as you open that client's information, that code, you can resend it right here at the top. But yes, anytime you do that welcome email, it'll send it automatically.
And the last thing is more of a comment. Judy Bowman just wants to let people know in her area that under features, there is that option for must not have, and you can select manufactured. So single wides and double wides are eliminated, and she said it's double wide heaven where she's at.
Yes, you know what? That brings up a really good point. And first of all, if you know Judy Bowman, I just love her to pieces. She's just such a sweetheart. And matter of fact, Judy also has taught me a lot of things because they have a very unique setup up in Clare Gladwin, where Judy's from. and it's called Sugar Springs. And I had never seen anything like it. I literally had to drive up. Thankfully, my father doesn't live too far away, and I literally had to drive up and kind of drive through it because there were so many great examples. And they do things very. They have like shared waterfront up there, which we didn't have a feature for. And thanks to Judy and some of the other Claire Gladwin staff members, we were able to add a lot of these things that we were unfamiliar with. And I'm going to give you some examples. And I'm going to tell you, this is what makes no one will ever understand how hard it is at the MLS to make all these MLSs come together. And so, a case in point, literally, we brought on the Upper Peninsula Association. And I thought I had pretty much known everything. We had mapped 31 MLSs into one database. And let me tell you, that is not easy. When you have 34 MLSs trying to get that data to transfer, someone calls it let's say Sandy Beach. This person calls it beach with sand. This person calls it beach with slope, right? You've got 34 MLSs all calling stuff different things, yet you're bringing them in and you're making it work in one database. And sometimes you have to do it with features, sometimes you have to do it with fields. Case in point, the UP called, and I have to be honest, I felt kind of bad because when they called, I thought she was joking. And so I kind of laughed and I felt very insensitive afterward. Literally, somebody called and said, "Hey, where is Outhouse? I don't have Outhouse. I used to have Outhouse in here." And I thought they were kidding. But there are some places in the UP, and I was unaware of this, and I even grew up in the UP, but I was unaware of this altogether. There are some places in the UP that do not have plumbing to the structure just because it's so cold up there. And some of the elements are so rocky. And so these are all the ways that we've had to add new features. So case in point, going back to Judy Bowman, they have this very unique setup in Sugar Springs. They have some that are lots, some that are lots that the septic and things have been added already. They have some lots that have these shared waterfronts, or what they call them, waterfronts in common. So there are all these unique things that we have to find ways and workarounds to get the data to match. Why it's more challenging in Michigan than I think most states. Many states only have 3 or 4 MLSs. So it's not that hard when you have 3 or 4 MLSs to come together on a central. But you start talking about 34 MLSs in a state, and man, it is hard to get all that data to flow in. So Judy, and why I went on this whole long story, Judy brings up a good point. Right now, manufactured homes are driving me crazy. I have to tell you, there is a fix that is coming in April that is going to separate those manufactured homes from single family homes. So it is coming, Judy. Thank you for bringing it up, because you're right. It seems like, especially if you're searching, more north, you're looking for single family homes, but you're getting a ton of manufactured homes. And that's because, let me explain why. Not in our system, but in some of the other MLS systems, they have them all convoluted together. And it's very hard. We had to write some special code that says, okay, we don't always want those together. Sometimes people do want them together, way up north, that's common. But they're like, for me, where I am, I don't want it together, and it is a pain. And yes, you can go into features and you can deselect, or you can select, deselect the manufacturer. Don't want manufactured homes. So I can say, hey, must not be a manufactured home in the don't want category, and I can eliminate seeing those. So right now you can do that. I will tell you that the fix that is coming in April hopefully is going to eliminate that. We've been working hard to, because that is a very common complaint. I personally hate it myself, but that hopefully will be fixed the beginning of April. At least that's what Black Knight, our company we're working with, says we can do in April. So Judy, help is on the way, but thank you for that good example. Okay, so I've probably talked your ear off now. Lisa, did we have any more questions?
Susie was asking again about the word search. She's asking if you can just drop down menu, just use your own words, or do you have to use a drop down menu words? But I think that's the field selection. So really, you can use your own words. It's just you can select multiple fields for it to search that word.
Correct.
That's what
you can
drop
do
down
either.
menu is.
You can pick in the drop down, or you can hit that search button to the right, and you can type in as well. Good question. Okay, so by now you're probably thinking, lady with the fuzzy hair, you talk so fast. How am I going to remember this when I actually need to? So let me show you where this class recording is going to be. So I try to record all of our classes with the exception of like the welcome classes and the specialty classes, meaning the copyright class or the photos classes. Those are the only ones that we generally don't record. And sometimes it's because there's copywritten material in those classes or an attorney's view. So for some of those, we don't record them, but pretty much every product class we do record. So let me show you where you can find that. And I should have it done at the end of today, maybe beginning of tomorrow. So give me about 24 hours to get it up there. But we try to record all of our classes, and you can find those under resources. And by the way, it does not matter if you are with a vendor at MLS or just even one of our data sharing partners. If you have access into Paragon, you can go to resources, and under the education section, you'll see recorded webinars. If you click on recorded webinars, this will take you basically to our YouTube channel. Just click on videos and it will show you our entire class list. I try to put the date in behind it so you know what that particular class was. Like for instance, my good friend Lisa, she does an awesome public records class, how to pull the tax data, how to create those mailing labels, how to create an SOI and filter it down to just what you're looking for. I love that class. Every time I sit in Lisa's class, I find something new. And her class is right here. So if you ever want to watch it, she does have another upcoming class, and I'll show you where to find that. But this is where you can find classes. You can fast forward to that exact part. So if you had to walk away at some point today and you want to go right back to, how did she add that word search? That is all in there. So I'll record it, get it uploaded in about 24 hours, and you can go back to it. If you're looking to take more of our classes interactive like this, where you can ask questions, you can find those in the same place under resources. And it's under education, but it's called the Education Corner. And basically, these are all of our classes that we offer. And it's a digital catalog, kind of like a magazine. And if you wanted to register for Lisa's upcoming class, let's see, actually we did your class on, I actually have to update this with the new one. So that is going to be, I believe we did one in March. Lisa, do you know off the top of your head which one is in March?
Let me
Okay,
see.
I update this from
My calendar and see.
So there is one coming in March. She also has one coming February 19th. Which is, gosh, only a week away. So if you want to take Lisa's next class, it's February 19th. She also has one coming up. I think it was March. We set up.
March. April, I know April 21st. I have one on April 21st. I know that. And then,
all right, I will update this because I only have the one for next week in here.
Okay.
But her next realist class is February 19th. And then April 21st. And I promise I will get that updated so you can sign up for those as well. We have transaction desk classes. We have broker transaction desk classes. We have creating listings from A to Z. So as I mentioned, we also have Kubicasa classes and one new class that we created called the Tools for Tackling Low Inventory. These are free tools that you get that you can use to go out and not only put out great information on social media, but capture the lead and pull it back too. So those are all great tools. They're under resources and under that education section. And then lastly, the handouts that I've included in that GoToWebinar panel, we have 97 handouts. And Lisa and I think we wrote most of them when I was going through them the other day, Lisa. Basically, Lisa and I, being agents, when we would get these technology, basically cheat sheets, if you will, we looked at each other and we're like, we don't even know what this means. They were definitely written by tech people that don't speak agent. So we decided we would take a handful of these and we would rewrite them. So one, they were short and understandable, and two, it sounded like what agents know. I was reading some of them and like, secondary deposit. I'm like, what's a secondary deposit? It's an earnest money deposit, but they don't call it that in the technology company that writes them in Canada. So we decided to make it a little bit easier. And right up here at the top, it's kind of missed a lot. Right up here at the top of Paragon, there's MLS documents. Depending on which MLS you're with, you'll see just your folder. But one of those folders will be education. And it will say right underneath cheat sheets for Paragon and all of the products. So if you click on that, it basically has all these how-to cheat sheets. So if you just want a quick step-by-step, it'll allow you to click a PDF and it will show you everything we covered. So here's the collaboration center for sellers. Remember I said if the seller wants to see what's going on in their neighborhood, and it's literally a one-page step-by-step that you can print off or have access to kind of just get you moving in the right direction. So three helpful things. You've got videos that you can go back to. You've got these cheat sheets. And by the way, an easy way, if you're looking, let's say, for a cheat sheet on cloud CMA, just type in the word cloud. It'll pull up all those particular cheat sheets. So it just makes it short and easy to find what you're looking for. So you've got those videos, you've got the cheat sheets, and of course, you've got that education corner that's going to show you all the upcoming classes. All right, I got it done just under the wire, 4 minutes to go. Any last questions, Lisa?
Looks like I think you answered everything. I was just checking to make sure. Oh, you want to know where the videos are again? Can you show the videos as well?
Sure. Yep. So the videos, if you just go to resources, trying to put everything under resources. So we want you to think of it like, because I hate who moved my cheese, you know, they're always moving stuff around and makes you crazy. So we're trying to put all the tools under resources, like an agent toolbox. So you're going to go to education under resources. That's where you can find those recorded webinars. Basically just takes you to our YouTube channel. And then the easiest way once you're there to find the classes is just click on videos and it will show you pages and pages of classes as well as the dates. And those are all right there. All right. Well, I just want to thank you so much. I hope everybody stays safe in Snowmageddon, as they keep calling it, with 7 inches of snow in this area. But I do appreciate you attending the webinar. As always, we appreciate your feedback. There will be a 1-minute survey that goes out after the class, just sort of letting us know what you thought. And hopefully this helps. So happy selling, everybody, and hope you have a great day and stay safe out there.